So I guess we're live. So good. What time is it today? It's 5:30 in the afternoon of September 30. Right now, it's one day, less than 24 hours before the first game of the NBA Finals between the Lakers and the Heat. I am Bong, and I am with my buddies. Uh, just lightning quick introductions. By the way, we all used to work together. Biebert and I still work together. Just give us a short introduction, where you're at, what you do right now. And I'll start with Biebert, I guess.
Hi guys, as Bong said, we still work together. I'm in the contact center industry. I am a management trainer. I help out with trainings for the employees, especially communications and several assessments. So there, I'm a huge basketball fan.
Yes.
Lakers. Let's go Lakers.
Thank you,
There.
Biebert. Well, we'll get into that shortly. Next, Rius, where are you calling from, and where are you dialed in from, and what are you doing right now?
Hello, everyone. To all Bong's friends, hello. I'm Rius. I'm a former colleague of Bong's, Bieberts, and Boss Val's. I am calling in from an island off the coast of Batangas. It's called Calapan. It's an island called Oriental Mindoro. That's where you find Puerto Galera. I'm currently a public servant. I was in e-performance like these dashing young men. And although we're apart physically, we still have one basketball heart. It beats as one. Like Biebert says, I'm also a basketball enthusiast, a LeBron fan. So wherever he goes, we go. There you go.
There you go. Okay, so we have two Laker fans. I guess my shirt speaks for itself. And now we'll go to someone that's really far from us. His name is Val. Val, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, everyone. My name is Val. Currently, I'm the talent acquisition for a company based in the UK. I'm currently based in Belfast. My family and I decided to relocate here 5 years ago. I worked with these cats for 8 years, and I consider them my brothers from another mother. And I'm also a basketball fan, sports fan, and what else? I think I'm not a LeBron hater. Do appreciate what he's doing at the moment, but all the stuff that I'll be saying, it's because I always believe that MJ is the best, and again, LeBron is catching up. So I don't want LeBron to catch up with the MJ.
See,
But
there you go.
if he wins, there's no argument. There's no argument. If he
Okay.
wins, there's no argument. So that's the thing.
Okay, so I guess it's no secret we're all basketball fans, and the reason why, just to give you guys a background, coming up at, we've been talking about this for a long time, probably 9 years running.
Yes.
We never got to do it. Now we're at the situation where everybody has a show, everybody has a podcast. We're not going to say that we know any better. I'm actually very technologically challenged, so this is the first time we're doing it. But today we're going to talk about something that everyone's focused on right now, as they should be if you're a true basketball fan, which is the NBA Finals between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Miami Heat. Now, I don't want to just jump in and go kill each other, because Val, we really want to give you a fair shake, but you just kind of opened yourself up to a lot of attacks over there.
Yeah, I know. I'm outnumbered, but
we still want to play nice, but I guess I want to, we all established where we stand right now, kung sino yung mga kinakampihan natin, but I want to know, I guess, from you guys is, let's talk about yung mga storyline. So first, I want to get your thoughts on one thing. I have a lot of thoughts on this one because I've been a Laker fan since, I'm going to date myself really bad here, forever, probably 1985, 1986. But Lakers. The Lakers are back in the finals. See, like this is the first time they're back in the finals since 2010, since Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol beat the Boston Celtics. What do you guys think of that? Just about that for the Laker family. And I know na hindi naman tayo mga Amerikano, but sa Philippines, kung sa Pilipinas, it's Laker Nation, as you guys know. So what does this mean to everyone para sa inyo? Anyone? Rios, what do you think?
Well, unlike Bong, I've been a Laker fan for only, I guess, 2 years. Is that correct, Bieber?
That's
Yep.
correct.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm sorry, Bong. The only reason why the Lakers are back in the finals, one word, LeBron. I mean,
And AD.
yep. I mean, Magic did a good job of reeling him in, and then LeBron did the rest. I mean, he got AD, and he put the team together. I remember Biebert posting uh, this podcast from Colin Cowherd, and he said it perfectly. I mean,
Yep.
this is why the Lakers are here, and this is why LeBron shouldn't be compared to Michael Jordan. He's just on another level. Like Val says, he doesn't even have to win another ring to get there. He's there wherever that the Mount Rushmore is. He's there. So I mean, Lakers, let's go. 24 no. Less than 24 hours from now, we're gonna see how great he is and how he's elevated the game of others in his roster currently.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm not going to complain that you're a new Laker fan. As long as you're a Laker fan, you're part of the fam. And no, no, like I mean, you guys know we've been working together for a long time. I mean, first of all, I'm a fan of basketball, so it doesn't matter what team I'm rooting for. LeBron is just a joy to watch every single time he's
He
someone
is. That he is.
that we became aware of in 2002 to 2003. So good. So how about the rest of you guys? Wiebert, what do you think about the Lakers being back in the finals for the first time since 2010?
Well, just in general, for basketball fans and basketball in general, it makes for a great narrative, especially with this ongoing pandemic and how people have been so down for the longest time, and now people are all excited because whether you're a hater or you're a fan, you're talking about them, and it's the perfect storyline for, again, just basketball fans, haters, and fans alike, because they know that this is going to be one exciting finals because the Lakers are there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
I don't like that the Heat beat the Celtics because it would have been a much better story.
Yeah.
At the same time, there's another narrative with the history that Pat Riley and
Right.
LeBron
And
and
yeah,
Steph have,
Call.
which also makes for great basketball.
I
But
and
just in general, I think it's good for us Filipinos because we know that there are a lot of LeBron haters there and a few fans. So either way, we're talking about him. We're talking about the Lakers. We're talking about the finals. And if there's one thing about basketball that gets everyone involved, it's the trash talk.
yeah. And
It's the trash talk factor.
Val, before I get to you, the one thing I want to tell everyone here is this is the perfect storm. Think about it. The Lakers, everyone loves the Lakers, but it's also a team that everybody loves to hate. Some people just want to hate on the Lakers just because they're the Lakers. And LeBron is someone that people just want to root against for some reason. So LeBron in LA with the Lakers. Now everyone wants to root against the Lakers, even though deep inside they love the NBA with LeBron in it. Like these people that hate on LeBron so much, they would realize how good LeBron is for all of us once he's done. So
Well, most of them don't really
no,
know how
go
to
on.
play good basketball. Don't know how to play good basketball. That's why they can't appreciate him. I mean, just 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 try to observe the haters. A lot of them don't really play competitive basketball too much. That's why they can't appreciate his greatness.
That's true.
Because even the the opposition know and respect him enough because they know how great he is.
Right.
One more thing about this narrative that I talked about regarding basketball and fans and how
Mm.
polarizing LeBron can be. What's funny is the people who hate on him now are the ones who were a bit okay with him before. But just like what Val said, they
Mhm.
don't want him to be at least part of the GOAT conversation or at least or even surpass MJ. And
Mhm.
the haters who used to not like him, who were big Kobe fans, are now big fans of his, knowing that he's doing it for LA, he's doing it for Kobe. So it's a really fun twist.
It is. It is really. It's really cute, to be honest. Like
Mm.
seeing
I
people
know.
all of a sudden are they used to hate on each other. Now they're allies. Val,
Mm.
I'm gonna give you the mic here. What do you think about the Lakers being back in the finals?
Well, we've always been expecting, like, for the last 30 years that I've been in existence, the Lakers has always been in the finals, like late 1980s, early to the 90s to the early 2000 when Kobe and Shaq. That's that's the time when I was really aware of that franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So every year they've always been talking about, like, it's championship or bust,
Yeah.
like, and it's the narrative is that we were expecting the Lakers to be in the finals. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when LeBron James signed with the Lakers after his free agency, we were expecting him to be here. And there's no more excuse. Like, they've always been saying that he goes to the finals every year because he's in the East. Now he's in the West. Now he's proven that he can do it. And again, I believe that he was way advanced in seeing that basketball has changed. We're always been stuck with the idea that I'm a good player. Everyone should come to me because I'm the franchise player.
Right.
But I think one of the reasons why LeBron James has succeeded in his career is he understands that basketball is not an individual sport; it's a team sport. So you, aside from you being good at what you do, you need other players to be also good at what they do. So I think that's the match made another 1-2 punch, the best 1-2 punch at the moment. LeBron James and AD, they're just monsters at the moment. So that's it. There's a lot of narratives at the moment, but if we talked about the Lakers narrative, we were expecting them to be here.
Because of LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Because of LeBron. When he signed, it's Lakers to the finals.
But
And he's so sorry. He's
go,
so
go, go.
great. He's so great that when he signed with the Lakers, he told Magic, "I'll get this team back to the finals in 2 years."
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the reason why, most likely, well, obviously they didn't make the playoffs is because he got injured last
Johnny
year.
Jordan, yeah.
But it's
Exactly.
just crazy. Even after that injury, he still kept that promise.
Yeah, but
It's crazy.
even think about at the time that he had his injury, they were on the fourth, like they were the fourth seed
Third,
in the West or
third
third.
seed,
So
third seed.
and he got injured really early on, and if had he come back and he was in shape, because when he came back, he's essentially playing off of one leg. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
so if he came back and he was in the same form, it doesn't matter if they got into the playoffs as an 8 seed. They might have lost to the Warriors even, but the Warriors don't want any of that team for sure.
Mm.
But again, it's futile talking about it now. The important thing is
Yep.
the Lakers is
They're here
back.
now.
They're here now. And Val mentioned something about the underlying narratives of this finals, and Biebert already alluded to it. So let's talk about it. Miami's back in the finals since LeBron left. And, Pat Riley, a former coach of the Lakers, Coach Spo, former coach LeBron. And there's been a lot of talk about bad blood between LeBron and Pat Riley. I don't know if any of that is true, but I'll defer to more of the LeBron experts here. Biebert, what do you think about that narrative? And you can
It's
unpack everything.
okay. That's a great question, and it's actually intriguing However, I just watched a video and posted it on Facebook literally like just an hour ago. It was Brian Windhorst who was interviewed about this relationship or lack thereof that both of them have. He explained it perfectly. He really hit the nail on the head because he knows both of them well, and he said that the two of them probably don't know this, but the reason why they can't create a lasting relationship is because both of them are eerily similar, because they are both empire creators. They're both drivers, they're both leaders to the point that they would do anything to succeed. If it means burning bridges
Right.
or whatnot, they're willing to sacrifice those just to succeed. And they look at the big picture. Like these are the guys who, when they decided to leave, they left. Pat Riley, I don't know if you guys even know this, left the Knicks via fax.
Yes.
Via
Yeah.
fax. Imagine that. And you have LeBron when he decided that he was over with the Cavs initially, he left. After his run with the Heat, he left Pat Riley. After his second run with the Cavs, he left without any regret because he was looking at the big picture and he knew what was best for him. And same with Pat Riley.
But Bieber,
So-
I have one question though.
Yeah.
Do you think if LeBron will be given a chance to redo when he left Cleveland the first time, would he still have the media extravagant, the decision? Would you think that he will still go through it? Or would you
Yeah.
think that he will just keep it in the down low?
Now or like
Yeah,
knowing
like
what
years,
he knows now?
Yeah.
No, he would do it differently, I'm sure. He was young.
Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
you have a guy that's been on the spotlight since he was like 15, 16. Like no one even came close. Like you have Nike and Adidas watching his high school games, following him wherever he goes. So it's not just that pressure, it's that fame that he embraced, that spotlight that he got accustomed to. Knowing that, okay, everyone's eyes are on me, I'm going to do it this way. Since this is what the media wants, this is what everyone wants. And I'm sure he didn't know any better that time because he was relatively young.
Yeah, but I
But
think
now that
Val,
he's been a champion.
Val part of sorry, Bert, but part of
No,
part of what makes LeBron really great is, and even then, like it was ridiculous to be honest, that whole decision thing. But no one in the history of the game, in the history of the NBA, was ever in that situation before. I mean, the way the NBA is right now, that every player essentially controls their destiny. That would not have happened if LeBron
If not for decision.
did not do that. You could call it circus, but it's a momentous event in the NBA that the game outside the basketball court has changed tremendously now. Like if you take a look at what happened with Kyrie and KD last season, and even AD kind of, well, we've seen a lot of people force their way out of situations via trade. But what AD did, it's all because LeBron empowered the entire league that you should manage your brand. And that's one thing that people do not understand LeBron brought to the NBA. Yes, Magic and Bird brought the whole TV thing. That's why everyone knows about the NBA right now. Yes, Michael is the biggest superstar we've ever seen. I mean, we all want to have a pair of Jordans even until now. How many years has he retired? 18 years or so. But LeBron is taking it to that next level. So he's
I don't think he should.
great.
I don't think he should have done it any differently. I mean, the only wrong thing he did was to wear the wrong shirt. He should have gotten advice from Boss Val. It was a bad looking shirt. Didn't even wear a jacket.
Shots fired. Shots
But if I were
fired.
LeBron, I would do it the same way over again. I mean, it
No,
was for
it's-
charity, you know?
Yeah, but
I mean,
but
you
if
got
you see the
you got
timeline,
stuff for
boss.
school.
Yeah, I do believe that he got a lot of heat when
Heat,
he
yeah. No
made-
pun intended.
No pun,
Yeah.
or all pun intended.
No, but
Willing to
no,
do
Yeah, I mean,
it?
I'm sure okay, so he was 7 years in the league. He was probably like what, 23,
Right.
saying all those things about not one, not two, not three. I'm sure he wouldn't say that now because
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
he's
He
been
would.
there,
Yeah.
you know. But I always looked at it this way when my friends would always bring that up and say that that was the time that they start not just started hating LeBron, but when they really hated LeBron. I tell them, if you're a young player and you're a superstar and you get the limelight on you, I'm sure if you guys get interviewed by everyone, you're probably gonna say more obnoxious things. Like
Exactly.
when we hang out with each other and you score 30 points in a relatively good league, you talk about it the whole time. And if you're that
Exactly.
great,
I
right? If
dropped
you're
30
that
on
great,
Big B. I
Exactly.
yeah,
dropped 30 on Big B.
and you know that you're about to
You
team
will
up with
hear
your
it
great friend
every
who's a
time we see
great
each other,
player.
Bert. You will hear that one. I dropped 30 on Big B.
Exactly,
Guys,
exactly. So
Right.
that's why I take that too.
but but you know what? Bong said this like a decade ago. I remember. He says Bong said that LeBron always says the right things. I mean, he
Right.
even Biebert, even if you consider him being on in the limelight for as young as he was, never said the wrong things. He always said the right stuff. I
It
mean,
it
he's a
just it
very
just
good
came off a
spokesperson.
bit cocky, maybe.
Well,
Yeah,
so here,
it did, but
I mean, it's been a decade, and my stance on what he says has changed a lot, especially in the last year. And we're not going to talk about that now. But when he started mouthing off
But
about like
just one more thing.
China,
Just one more thing
go on,
about
bro.
that. Because here's the thing. Let's say he said those things, but he was able to deliver. Like he did not lose to the Mavs, and let's say he won 3 or 4 straight championships with the Heat. No one can talk shit about him. He may have played the villain, but he delivered. Like, okay, so he is
Yeah.
now literally probably the GOAT because he delivered on these promises with all the hype and all the pressure. But he failed, especially that year against the Mavs, which was the only year out of the 10 championships that he has been to where he's the clear favorite to win it. And he lost. And you could even say he choked. That's
Yeah.
why.
But
From that
But
perspective, I would say that he was a bit wrong with how cocky he came off.
yeah, but
yeah,
like,
but
for,
a few years ago, boss,
go
I
on,
can
go
say
on,
something
go
about
on.
hating. I think when he had the second run with the Cleveland Cavaliers and he
Mm.
carried that team to the finals, and just before the series against the first matchup between the Warriors and the Cavs on the finals, Biebert mentioned that why can't we just appreciate what this guy is doing with the injuries of Kevin Love,
Kyrie. Kyrie, yeah.
Kyrie Irving. He still had to carry this
Crazy.
team to the finals, and that's when I knew that this person is different. He's in a different level. He
But he
might,
came back.
He's on a
yeah,
different
he might
level.
lose. He might lose in the finals, but getting in the finals is something really difficult to do.
Just think about the names of the people that he brought to the
Yeah, I
finals
know.
with him. Again,
2007.
the whole Miami situation is
2007 Cavs.
this
And
is
that's it.
yeah, exactly.
The second best
Exactly.
player
But
is
again,
Z.
oh my goodness,
Disasters.
Z couldn't even walk. Like he couldn't even he couldn't even run at
We
that
have
point in time. He was like
Booby
fellow
Gibson,
Lithuanian
Louis Gibson. Yeah.
Booby
who
Gibson.
probably won't even make the lineup in other teams. It's crazy, but neither here nor there,
Absolutely.
as Shannon would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like there's also talks. There were also talks, and I don't know. You guys can fact check me about this because I'm not sure if I was dreaming this before. Gosh, it was like 15 years ago. There was a point in time where they wanted Pat Riley to go back to the Lakers, and then they had a meeting, and instead of them luring Ewing, not Patrick Ewing, Pat Riley, instead of luring him to back to LA, a year after they ended up trading Shaq to Miami.
Yeah.
so that I don't know if that was accurate,
Maybe
but
they
I
considered
remember.
him. Highly likely
Yeah.
that they considered him because of his history and how he knows these players and the culture.
Okay. Well, again, that's something that I don't. I'm not really sure if it's factual or not. But the other thing is, what do you guys think this means to someone like Spo? I think a
Yeah.
lot of coaches, when they coach LeBron, they don't get enough credit. And I feel like Spolstra, even though they weren't great the last few years, always made the most of his group.
Yeah,
Yes. That's
I
the
have to agree
narrative
with
right
that.
now, boss. It's very inspiring for someone who's into seeing people progress in their career. Again,
Mhm.
Film
he
guy,
started.
right? He was the film guy.
Yeah, he's a film
Yeah, he
guy.
was. He was.
He's a film guy.
He was.
It takes one, but I truly believe if it's not for Pat Riley, he would not have this longevity
But yeah,
of his career, because you know what happens to NBA coaches. Players don't lose games. It's the coaches who loses games. So
right.
I think he was given the chance. Pat Riley saw something in him, and again, the narrative is that let's give due to whatever he has done.
Right.
He has paid his dues, and again, he deserves all the credit right now because you see, we during the start of this season, we have never expected the Heat to be in this position.
Right.
Okay, it was Philly, Memphis.
Top four. It's always been the top four. You have
Yeah, but
Philly, you have Boston, you have the Bucks and the
Boston.
Raptors.
Yeah,
Right.
and
But
The Raptors just proved to us that they're still good without Kawhi Leonard.
they're
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 gonna
good.
And Kawhi just proved to us that the Raptors
Yeah.
are good enough.
It could,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get into that right now because that's neither here nor there. Now, I will ask you guys about how you think this series is going to go. Of course, I'm not even going to hide behind objectivity here. But
No sweet, no sweet, no sweet. That's the only request.
yeah, no. But here's the thing. I just want to put some context into this situation. I'll try to sound objective, even though everyone knows that I'm not.
Come
Let,
on,
let's
boss.
let's take a look at something here. Like let's take a look at the offense, defense, and all of the other things. So an hour before, because I thought we were going to do 4 o'clock, so we weren't able to do that. But I did some googling.
You sound
And,
like Max now, bro. You sound like Max
no,
Kellerman
no,
now.
no, no.
Great job.
But
Go
I
on.
did I did some googling, and these are the things that I have. Let me just put it through. So from a scoring standpoint, the Lakers are the third overall in the playoffs with 113.9 a game. Defense, they're also third at 106.5, and the Heat are in fifth category in both scoring and defense. So that's one. But if you go take a look at the other things, the Lakers also are on top of the Heat when it comes to rebounding, assist, field goal percentage, and blocks. Which the Lakers are number one in the entire playoffs in assists, blocks, and field goal percentage. The two things that the Heat are better at, of course, is 3-point
3
percentage
points percentage.
and free throw percentage, which is a huge advantage, 82% compared to 74% for the Lakers. So with some of those things out there, and I'm not going to ask first about how you guys would predict it as far as win-loss, who's going to win, but how do you think would this series turn out from an action adjustment standpoint? Rios, would you like to start off? Because I mean, you're always getting cut off before I could even get to you. So I guess I'll go with you now.
You're on mute, bro.
I think the series is it largely depends on coaching. I mean everything's the variables are clear. What's not are the strategies. I mean, Bo, I guess is gonna employ, of course, the wall. for LeBron, and then the zone, which has worked for them in spurts against the Celtics. But other than that, I don't know what they're going to do against LeBron. It's like Bong says, we're not here to give our predictions initially because we know what's going to happen. But how the Lakers are going to win in 5 is what the Heat is trying to avoid. I mean, they have like the analysts say they have the 2 best defenders on LeBron. They have Iggy and they have the bucket, Jimmy Bucket. And then they also have what's his name? The other guy,
Crowder.
long lock.
Crowder.
Crowder. There you go.
Jay Crowder. Yeah.
So they're gonna double LeBron, build an initial wall and then a secondary wall when LeBron drives. So it's all on Spo. That's what I have to say as a conclusion.
You know what, Rias? One thing, I'm the one that's going to try to be objective here, but I really want to jump on a couple of things that you just mentioned. I'm not going to disagree. Spo's the man. I think, they will need to have that zone tighter than ever because, if the Celtics figured it out towards the latter part of the series, LeBron's going to figure it out in 2 minutes. That's all I can say about that. So we'll try to go back to some of the points that you mentioned, but I'll go with Val this time. I want to hear what your thoughts about how the series are going to play out. Stylistically, what's going to happen?
Honestly, I'm hoping against hope. Hoping that the 2004 Detroit Pistons spirit will be with the Miami
Good
Heat.
enough to give them 2 games.
Yeah, at least 2 games. But I'm quite excited with the coaching adjustments. Both coaches have proven in the bubble that they can make the necessary adjustments. You look at the second round of the series with the Rockets and the Lakers. I think they made a major adjustment in how they defend the Rockets offense. I never thought that anyone could stop the Rockets offense, but the Lakers have proven that they can. Blazers were during the bubble.
I don't mean to interrupt because I want to make sure that you guys could like finish a point. But I just need to make an exception right now. No one thought that the Rockets will beat the Lakers.
Yeah, but
you probably
but
thought,
not
you
bad.
probably did. You did.
I do, but the Rockets offense looked bad, to be honest. With what the
Credit
Lakers.
to the Lakers defense.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
I know.
Starting game 2.
Yeah, starting game 2 with the adjustments that they made defensively. Rondo was a problem for Russell Westbrook.
Right.
And I do expect Rondo would also be a problem with the point guards of Miami. We have Tyler Hero. We have the Dragon. He will be a problem to them. So game 1 again. Game 1 is essential for us to see how the series will go. But ultimately, these coaches have proven themselves that they could make the necessary adjustments. So yeah, that's it. Lakers in 6, but if Miami win, it's gonna be a game 7.
I was kind of hoping we would get into predictions later, but okay, you got your Lakers in 6. But like one thing that I want to say about like what you mentioned about the adjustments, I think really people again underestimate Vogel's coaching chops.
Yeah.
People underestimate Vogel's coaching chops. I remember, and I know that it wasn't recorded. We were just talking about it before. I said that for the Lakers to win against Houston, I really want to go to Dwight or JaVale at least one or two times to start every quarter, even though we know that that's net negative, just so you could punish them for wanting to play small and trying to prove to the Lakers that, you know what, you're going to adjust to us and not the other way around. But
Credit to Vogel.
Frank Vogel is amazing. If you take a look at, and I haven't watched enough to make a judgment on this. I'm primarily a Laker fan, and I watch almost all of the Laker games, so probably that's the reason why I know this. Him and his staff, they time the rotation of their players. If you take a look at the breakdown in minutes, when they use players, when they put people in and out,
Yeah.
like they don't panic. Even if situations where, if I was a coach, which is the reason why I'm not the coach over there, because there will be situations where I'll be like, I don't care if you're tired. AD and LeBron
Yeah.
need to be there. They
Yeah.
stick
That's
to their gun.
that's what Mike Budenholzer failed to do with Giannis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Especially
exactly
game
what
3.
it is.
Yeah.
Or was it game 4 where game 3, I think. They were down a few points, and his explanation was Giannis had enough minutes, so he had to rest him because that's part of his like rotation.
Right.
And the analysts were all over him for that
Yeah.
decision because it's your series, essentially
Yes,
your
definitely.
season on the line, and
Right.
you're making that decision even if you know that your superstar is what 24 years old.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna break down. I mean, again, Giannis is a specimen, but he's playing against the best athletes in the world. He's going to get tired, and I usually watch the games on mute just so other people can do their jobs while I'm watching the game. But one thing when I was watching one game with sound was one thing what Reggie mentioned regarding Rondo and Howard, and it's a word that I think will pop up when they're playing Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. Is like Rondo and Howard would punk the Denver Nuggets. You know, so that's what. Yeah, I never
The
would have
Heat.
thought using, but they would punk the Heat right now, like these guys, not Jimmy buckets and not Adebayo, but they would at least try with Hero and Robinson. And make no mistake about it, I think Tyler Hero is a gangster. I mean, I think that guy
He's a
is
dog.
he's a
He's a
dog.
dog, man.
But they would definitely try because prior to us recording, Bert, we talked about Jaylen Brown, and even though Hero is a dog, Jaylen Brown punked him a couple of times. And so that might come into play. So I'll go to you now, Bieber. How do you think would this series turn out from an adjustment from a style of play standpoint?
Well, first and foremost, I would like to piggyback on what all of you said about adjustments in coaching because yes, you provided us with a lot of numbers, but I don't think those are like clear variables when it comes to how this series will go, mainly because their opposition has been completely different. So for me, it's all about coaching, adjustments, and matchups. Okay, speaking of coaching, let's just say on paper, the Riley and Spo tandem might look better or sound better. At the same time, a lot of people don't know that Vogel is a defensive coach.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why we say defense wins championships because that's the reason why I chose the Celtics because I thought that they were going to be good enough defending the Heat's three-point line. But with the Lakers size, it's a different story, especially with Vogel at the helm because he knows how to make these adjustments. This clearly manifested in their series against the Rockets because you can say that when they played Portland, maybe the game one loss was a fluke. But with the Rockets, it's because of the Rockets style that they lost that game one when Vogel decided to play JaVale and Dwight a lot.
Right.
So they lost that game. To start off the second game, they just blitzed them off the gates and got up to like their lead up to 21 points in the first half. But the most telling thing about that game for me was the third quarter. Even when they got the lead up to 21, the Rockets managed to take back the lead at the start of the fourth. Because Vogel, again, gave Dwight and JaVale heavy minutes.
Right.
And that's when you finally realize that, okay, this is not going to work for a small ball team, so I'm going to have to completely adjust to the point that I'm probably not going to start them, but not play them at all. And it takes balls to make that kind of move. And it's all about culture. The Heat, no question. But with the Celtics, the Lakers, you have to take into consideration and factor in a few things like JaVale and Dwight being guys with egos, and
Right.
especially Dwight and JaVale being in the finals a few times.
Right.
But for them to buy into that decision that the coach made just tells you that they're hungry and they're willing to do all these sacrifices to win. So they have that. Plus, with their size and the adjustments that I know, to allude to your point earlier, LeBron can do in 2 minutes, they have that luxury. So if ever the Heat can do something crazy, they have that luxury to probably lose one game, because similar to what I said to a lot of people when they called the Blazers the best eight seed team
Yeah.
ever.
Uh,
They might win a few games, but I don't see this team matchup wise, adjustments wise, winning 4 out of the 7 games against a LeBron James led strong Laker team, which is exactly how I look at the series now.
Hmm.
Okay, they might not play small ball. I'm talking about the Heat, but if there's one thing that they are so great at, this clearly showed against the Celtics, is their execution is close to flawless for 48 minutes. Yes, the culture is there. We talk about how they're dogs, but it's just how they execute to the point that Spo trusts everyone to do their role without question.
Yeah.
And that's when they outplayed the Celtics. Because the Celtics on paper should have won because they were more talented. The fact that those first 3 games they got a 12 point, a 17 point, and a 16-point lead means that if they just executed and stayed track on what they should have done, which was to shoot less threes, they would have won those games. But because of how consistent the Heat was, they eventually outplayed Celtics in that series. But I just think that no matter how good they play, with LeBron and how strong this team is, they can't win 4 games in a 7-game series.
I have a
That's my
question for
biggest
you.
thing.
I have a question for you guys though, in relation to that. What do you think would be the rotation for each team? Do you think we will see some people that haven't played in the conference finals a lot? I think like say for example, my opinion is for the Lakers, we would see pretty much the same thing. We will just most likely get more Markieff Morris one game here or there, depending on how Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee could contain their foul trouble, or how good they defend the pick and roll in that dribble handoff with Miami Heat. But the Lakers rotation, I think, is going to be pretty much set. The Heat, I want, because again, I will defer to you guys because I think you guys watched more Miami basketball than me the last couple of weeks. But I want to know if guys like Kendrick Nunn,
yeah,
what's the name? What's the name of the guy that was a demon defensively too? The one that was part of the slam dunk competition. That's out of the
Derek
rotation
Jones,
right now.
Derek,
DJJ,
Right.
Derek Jones
yeah,
Jr.
Derek Jones Jr. I think,
Jr.
could be.
Miles Leonard.
Well, Myers Leonard, I would probably give him a shot a couple of times just to see. It depends on how effective Dwight and JaVale might be. I might need someone that could put a body on those people. But the reason I started talking about Derek Jones Jr. would be he's the guy that's long and rangy. He's not really strong enough, but he can get into the passing lanes, which is important if you want to use the zone a lot. Like you mentioned earlier, Rios, I don't know if he's still with us or still having internet problems, but when you go wall up against Giannis, when the Heat would rotate out of walling out Giannis, they get to the passing lanes and they get easy buckets. That's the Lakers' MO. That's the Heat's MO. They're two of the best teams in turnovers and scoring off turnovers. So I don't know. Do you think that there would be any player in the Heat bench that we would see more of this series than against the Boston Celtics?
Well, I'll take this first. For me, I don't think so. I think Spo will most likely go with his 8 to 9 man rotation.
Rotation. Yeah.
I really feel I could be wrong, but I really feel like their mindset is probably the way that they can beat the Lakers is to outscore them, is to play that pick and roll 3 point play that they're so good at, because they might take advantage of the Lakers size and play a bit of a small ball pick and roll rotation and just bank on their threes, because they know that size wise they don't have the advantage when it comes to overall defense. So they're just probably going to go with a wall, maybe adjust their team defense, but individually, I don't think they're going to change the pieces. That's
Okay.
what I think.
Thank you. How about you, Val? What do you think? Rotation, is it going to be the same? Is it going to be different?
Yeah, probably there might be some surprises within the series. Again, I'm quite excited to see how game one goes.
Maybe a little Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, Kelly Olynyk.
But what
You know what he did to Kevin Love?
Within the,
Val, before you continue, I think if they put Kelly Olynyk there, Rios, like I know you guys can relate. If Kelly Olynyk is there for LeBron, AD, Dwight, JaVale, it's gonna be barbecue chicken all night. Barbecue chicken.
no, but he had a good first round series though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good first round series.
So I haven't forgotten what he did to Kevin Love.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was wanting to share to you guys. Probably he might do another Kevin Love to AD. Who knows? It's gonna take the entire
And to anyone watching this, if you want to put Kelly Olynyk just in the Denver Lakers series, you guys know how tough Paul Millsap is, right? He's tough. But there's like one time, like Dwight shoulder checked him, and he was like on the deck. Could you imagine? Probably Olynyk will fall apart into several different pieces if Dwight does that to him. So, no, I think no Kelly Olynyk this time. Myers Leonard, yes, because he's a dog too.
Bong. That was just cool. All right, B-Bert? I mean, it wasn't even that strong. I mean, you know.
Exactly.
I just think it's because his shoulder was like his shoulder was chin level for Millsap. So yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dwight is pretty dumb sometimes on the floor. Like
I wanna bring out something since you mentioned Dwight and you guys brought up Rondo earlier. As players, as ballers, you guys know this. There's nothing more motivating for an ex. Okay, I said you guys know this, and I'm just gonna say an ex superstar. So yeah, there's nothing more motivating than an ex superstar who didn't make it all the way than another shot of really possibly or highly likely making it. You can see Dwight, you can see Rondo, like they're playing at a level just like LeBron. Like you can see how hungry they are and how close it is for them. Because initially I thought that Bradley was going to be such a huge loss defensively. But Rondo is picking up what Bradley is
was supposed to do for the Lakers.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
so, yeah,
and again, it goes to show how great a coach Vogel is, because think about it. Rondo has been a problem almost everywhere out, even in Boston. He was a problem. He matured a lot when he was in New Orleans, but this is the playoffs. And even if you would say that he's a veteran, he's so good that if he didn't believe in the coach so much, he would pout and he would complain. Same thing with Dwight. I guess Dwight is a different situation because he was almost out of the league before the season started. And as much as I like him now, I didn't really like the signing at the beginning, and I think I'm not alone in that assessment. But going back to what the series is about, what do you guys think will be quickly keys to victory for the Lakers and the Miami Heat? Well, what will be the keys to victory for each team? Rios,
Bro, Rios,
you're hard to catch. So
every time you're here and the signal's clear, go.
go ahead. Keys to victory for each team.
No, guys, I just want to apologize because I'm using two phones.
Uh-huh.
So this one and another one. Anyway, so each time I get offline, somebody calls. Somebody calls my
that's the
In demand.
we
In
don't
demand.
get that when you're
We
popular.
understand.
Yeah.
Public servant, bro. All good, all good.
Well, keys to victory. The Lakers have to play really bad, and the Heat have to play perfect. Those are the keys to victory.
that
The Lakers have to play really bad, and
that,
the Heat have to play perfect. That's it.
that was very straightforward, and thank you very much. Val,
Okay,
how about you?
Okay, go Val.
I want to hear Val first before I get to Ebert. But Val,
No,
keys to
I
victory.
truly. I'm a big fan of the inside of the NBA, and those guys have always reiterated that in a 7-game series, the best team would win. With regards to the adjustments, whatever, the best team would win. And I truly believe before the start of the series, the Lakers is the better team.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the adjustments will be a factor because it will make the series more interesting. But again, the Lakers just have the better team at the moment.
All right.
So.
Okay, my take is actually will be surprising to all of you, because okay, I'm a LeBron fan, so obviously I'm rooting for the Lakers. But this bubble factor has been very interesting. A lot of people give too much credit or downplay so many things about certain teams, but they are not factoring in this whole bubble factor.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I bring this up is because the only team I chose to win that didn't win was the Celtics, because I initially thought that the Heat is 1 year ahead
Mm-hmm.
because of the pieces that they have. They have a lot of dogs, and we know that, but these are young kids. You have Duncan, who's from the G League, doesn't have a lot of experience, doesn't have a lot of exposure, and then you have a 20-year-old Tyler Hero. But these guys are balling mainly because this whole setup is perfect for them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to face a hostile crowd. They don't have to face any other situation that they're not used to. And it's perfect for the Heat culture, perfect for Jimmy Buckets.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what Jimmy Buckets told them initially when he went to the bubble, this is a business trip for me. So he bought into that Riley culture, and everyone is following his lead. And you can see when they played the Bucks, when they played the Celtics, they're all clear underdogs, but they just dogged them because of their execution. So you can't downplay that. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
For the Lakers, initially when they lost to the Blazers in game one, I thought, or I even slightly criticized Vogel because
Mm-hmm.
he still didn't have that clear rotation. People were even talking about, should he play J.R. Smith more? Should he
Mm-hmm.
decide to play Dion Waiters? But I'm glad that they faced all those adversities,
Yeah.
playing the Blazers and the Rockets, having to make those huge adjustments to prepare them for this championship matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing about this bubble factor, when you talk about favorites, better team, 7-game series, the same thing was the situation with the Nuggets and the Clippers. The Clippers were supposed to be 10-1 favorites against the Nuggets. They were up 3-1. They ended up losing that series. What the
Right.
hell happened? Right? Because it's different if you're playing against a team who has nothing to lose and cherish the role of the underdogs who
Right.
want to play spoilers.
What do the Americans say about that? Like they're like playing with house money.
House money. They're playing with house money. And nothing motivates these young guns more than to destroy the whole perfect storyline of LeBron getting another championship and the Lakers winning, and everyone essentially already what, calling them out as losers or whatever.
Right.
So that at the same time, it's just different because just like what Snoop said, we're not the Clippers. And
Yeah.
he said that because he knows that LeBron is their leader, and LeBron is not stupid enough to make all these crazy mistakes. If he makes one, this is a 7-game series. So I am still in agreement with everyone when it comes to that, because you have a LeBron who's been here so many freaking times.
Exactly.
And even if he loses one game, you have Rondo who respects him. So I factor that in too, because I'm sure Rondo and Dwight, as much as they respect Vogel, respect him more because they know that LeBron has his back.
Right.
And LeBron has the team's best intention. And when it comes to a close game where you have dogs and you have the best player in the league, I will always go with the team with the best player in the league. Plus, he has
Bong, before
the
you
most versatile player now,
Bong,
post AD. So
Yes.
before you give your take, I'm gonna butt in.
Go ahead.
Thanks. There are two main factors for the Lakers to win, definitely, and you know who those two are.
Right.
But should they pick, for example, I'm the Heat, I'm Spo. Should I have to pick between the two to double? I think I'd do it on AD. Like Bong says, AD's the X factor. I mean, we know what we're gonna get from LeBron, but AD's not a guard. He can get his own shots. So if I had to double anybody, I would double AD, and I would play LeBron straight up with any of the three, Butler, Iggy, and Crowder. So at least from I know that's specifics, but from whatever form they're gonna play. Let's say they do zone or whatever they choose as their primary defense on the Lakers. I think they have to eliminate. They have to at least try to eliminate one of the factors, one of the biggest factors, and that's I mean, who's easier to contain? It's not LeBron. It's going to be AD. So might as well go with AD. So if they play stats, I think that it's going to be easier to eliminate AD.
Okay. Well,
one more thing, bro, before you take. Sorry,
ahead.
just one more thing. I'd like to also piggyback on what Rhea said. You know what to expect from the two. For this series to be easy for the Lakers, the shooters have to make their shots, because you know that LeBron will always make the right play.
Right.
When they lost to the Blazers in Game 1, he made crisp passes to the shooters, but they were just shooting horrendously. I think they shot like 5 out of 34. That's why the Blazers ended up winning, but it was still a relatively close game in the dying minutes because of how bad they played, or how bad the shooters were with their shots. So yeah, you know what to expect from the two, but if the shooters can make their shots, this will be a quick series for me.
Right. I agree.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
You brought up a good point, Biebert and Reeves. You guys brought up a good point when it comes to their shooting. And this is something that, again, NBA coaches are way, 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 way smarter than all of us. But I didn't understand why the Rockets, the Blazers, and the Nuggets continue to hesitate on clamping down on LeBron on the help side every single time he attacks the basket, because these Lakers, I would rather have them beat me with those 3-point shooters. If I lose with Caruso and Kuzma shooting threes, then so be it. I'll live with that. But LeBron constantly just remember when he puts his head down, it's foul at the very least. They always help late. I don't understand that, and I don't know if the Heat's going to be any different. But I guess keys to victory for me, for the Lakers, which I think is going to win in 6 games, I think they need to limit the number of fouls that they have, because they're number one in the playoffs when it comes to fouls. And you don't want to foul the Miami Heat because they're the number one free throw shooting team. If you stop the clock and put him on the line, to your point, I guess, Biebert, you mentioned it earlier, you give him more confidence. You keep the game close. Even if you lose 2 in a row, you keep the game close. You have the confidence that, you know what, it's just a matter of 1 or 2 possessions and we can get it. And the Heat, they're dogs. They're not going to quit even if they're undergunned. Another thing I believe for Miami, in order for them to win, really is they're going to win a couple of games, just because there will be 1 or 2 games, one at the very least, where everyone will make their shots, and the Lakers can't do anything about it. But the Heat need to utilize Adebayo, Hero, Robinson, that dance that they do, to the fullest.
Yeah.
They need to do that to the fullest, because the Lakers might need some help in that regard. The good thing about the Lakers is they're big enough that they can switch. They did it with the Nuggets, and they kind of still got away with it. They won 4-1. It's not ideal, but Dwight, JaVale, they would switch on Murray, and they would use LeBron for the most part as kind of like the cheater. You know, like when we do our defense.
Show up.
He would be the show up, and he would just get into the passing lanes and dunk the ball, and they're number one at that. So I think the Lakers should continue to do that, but I don't know if it's going to be as effective with this Heat team, which is a little bit more complicated when it comes to stopping them in the perimeter. And Bam, unlike any other big that they faced, Jokic, I think, is better at this stage when it comes to creating that, like, situations out of the handoff or fake handoff. Bam is the second best, but he's a little bit more explosive. So I think if the Lakers miss out on the fake handoff, that would be similar to what he did to the Celtics a few times. Every game he would have that fake handoff and just dunk the basket. So he will do that with less frequency, but he would still be able to do that. For the Lakers,
Bong, yeah.
For the Lakers,
Bong, you mentioned the Nuggets.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, you mentioned the Nuggets. I think I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Nuggets have had the best defense on LeBron. I mean, from all the 3 competitors, from all the three teams they faced in the playoffs, I think the Nuggets. Yeah, the combination of, I guess, of size and athleticism.
Yeah,
they were able to build the wall. Yeah, and from all of the series, the 3 series, we have the Blazers, we have second team is Houston. LeBron was at the least effective against the Nuggets. I mean, save for Game 7 and parts of Game 6. I mean, he wasn't really that big of a factor that we expected him to be. That's because
Game 5, you mean?
Grant and all these people were bodying him up. But against smaller teams, relatively smaller teams, Portland and Houston, I mean, he did a lot of damage. And that's the kind of damage I'm seeing LeBron doing against the Heat if they don't contain him. So
I believe so too, because to your point, like, take a look at the Denver series. Whenever Porter was on the floor, he would hunt for that guy. And that's the same. Like, LeBron does this over and over again every year with Miami, with Cleveland. It doesn't matter. He would headhunt one guy, and it doesn't matter whoever that get. Just do a pick and roll, whoever that guy's guarding. Now he's going to, like, his eyes are going to be so big when he sees Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, just because of their youth and just because they're lanky. If Michael Porter Jr. is 6'10", I mean, he hasn't filled out his entire body yet, but he's much heavier than those 2 guys. And LeBron will just take those 2 straight to the basket every single time.
And people who keep bringing up Iggy's name, I mean, no disrespect to him, but we're not talking about prime Iggy here.
Yeah.
If you had to compare the 2 of them, who looks stronger at this stage of their careers, of course you have LeBron.
Right. And I don't really put a lot of premium, especially playoffs, with the primary defender, because NBA offenses are so complex that you really actually want that
help defense.
Defense is the key. So I mean, I think they have some materials. They could put Crowder, Iguodala, and Butler on the floor so they can switch, but you can only do that for so long. And LeBron is so good that you can't give him the same look 3 times in a row and he's gonna pick you apart. So I guess in that regard, the Lakers are gonna win in 6. I was about to say 5, but
Speaking of help defense, I mean that that perfect Bam help on Tatum to seal the game 1 win.
right. Oh man,
That crazy block
I was so surprised that his
was
shoulders were still intact.
yeah. That's because he's a monster too. But that essentially won them the series.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the type of help defense they need to do on LeBron.
So I don't know.
But that
guys.
was a lucky block. I mean,
I don't
That's
know.
because
Guys.
That's because it was Tatum and not LeBron. That's why.
Oh
'Cause
yeah, like try that. With
LeBron saw that help coming, kick
Yeah.
out, and drop to AD.
Try that with LeBron, and you're going to come up empty-handed. Like I'm you think you can jump high, you can get him. Yeah, like he has eyes at the back of his head. If you've seen early in the regular season that pass that when Danny Green was in the corner, that like, oh man, that was crazy. So I mean, he doesn't do that all the time, but when he needs to, he will. Again, I think it's been over an hour. I think you guys have been amazing. I don't know if you guys will have time. I was
One final
do
take.
that.
One final
Go
take.
on, final take.
Because I've never been biased. I was totally objective the whole time. I'll be a bit biased now. Let's just say the Heat gets so lucky that it gets to a game 7 or whatever. I just can't see LeBron not doing everything in his Thanos Infinity Gauntlet power lose. I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
No way.
I just don't see it. It's like this is destiny for him.
no way.
Right.
There's just no way he's
Bieber,
gonna
come
let
on.
them win.
No way does it get to game 7. No way does it get to game 7. I mean, he doesn't have to use the gauntlet, man.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I initially thought Lakers in 5, but I had to give the Heat credit because of what I've seen from them and how they have improved constantly and just played flawless execution. So yeah, Lakers in 6 for me.
I'll go back to you, Rias, because like Lakers in 6 for both of us. What say you?
Say what?
What say you? Lakers in 6 for Val, Biebert, and myself. What do you got?
It's game 7 is a loss for. I mean, if it gets to game 7, I consider that a loss. It's supposed to be 5 all the way. It's 5 games all the way. First round to the finals, just 5 games, man.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So here's what we're going to do. I don't know if we can get together, but I will try to call you guys after each of every game. If we can't do it, we can't do it, but I'll certainly try. But it's been fun.
It's been fun.
And like I have never talked to anyone about basketball this way. That's why I miss being in the office with you guys. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen anytime soon, especially with you, Rius and Val, not being in Cebu anymore. But it's fun talking to you guys. Biebert, I'll see you in the office one of these days. Thank you.
Good talk, guys. Great
Good
catch
talk.
up.
I love you guys too. Bye.
First blood tomorrow.
Thank you.
Lakers first blood.
Yes, for sure.
Lakers by 9 points. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Everyone.
Take care, guys. Keep safe, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Bye.